Hi, Cameron here from Morgan Reach TV. Welcome to episode 35 of our podcast, which is aired on YouTube and all our social media platforms. Today, we step into the world of design, development, and the future of the built environment right here in the West Midlands with Naveed Ahmed from Made Architecture. Nav is a true local visionary who's spent over 2 decades shaping the spaces we live, work, and connect in. He is the founding director of Made Architecture, an award-winning RIBA chartered practice based in the heart of Solihull. From their origins in Birmingham Jewellery Quarter to becoming a studio celebrated for combining creative innovation with commercial excellence. Nav and his team are known for delivering stunning projects from bespoke luxury homes to major community and commercial developments that are truly changing our regional skyline. With his commercial eye and deep-seated passion for sustainability and architectural design, Naveed has been instrumental in multiple key regeneration projects, guiding developers and inspiring the next generation of architects as a former external examiner at the Birmingham School of Architecture. He is here today to share the journey of building a successful practice, the philosophy behind their critically acclaimed work, and his take on what it takes to design a truly future-proof building. So please join me in welcoming into our hot seat today a leading force in British architecture, Naveed Ahmed. Nav, thanks so much for coming down today.
Lovely to be here, and thank you for having me.
No problem at all. And you've come from Solihull or Hall Green. Did you go to work today before this? Or?
I did, yes. I was in the office this morning. I try to make an early start as I can. I think my morning generally starts at 5 o'clock.
Wow.
With my better half shouting at the top of the stairs and saying, time to get up. So, and I like that routine, to be honest. I think as an architect, and especially in my student days, the most creative time for you really is working through the night.
Yeah.
And so I used to sleep late at night and then get up slightly later. And I think my entire kind of program for the day used to go a little bit haywire. But I think having Sophie encouraging us to make an earlier start is wonderful, because I think I have a fantastic routine. I do a little bit of cardio in the morning.
That's really good.
And if I'm on my intermittent fasting, I don't eat anything, just the tea. And I have to have tea. Otherwise, by midday, I'll get a throbbing headache.
Really? So there's a bit of a caffeine kick in the morning.
Except coffee has never worked for me.
Really? You don't get an extra kick from it?
That's the most bizarre thing. In the mornings, coffee I could not do. In the office, true to being a proper architect, 10 espressos a day. That's what I used to have.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've cut down
That's
on that.
That's probably why it doesn't affect you anymore, because you've kind of burned it all up.
but no, genuinely, I think I have been trying to cut down on the coffee, on the espressos. But I do drink a lot of water.
That's good.
6-7 litres a day, sometimes more.
Yeah, excellent. So let's start from the start, really. So when you were growing up, so you're British born and bred? Did you move from Pakistan in the early days?
British born and bred,
yeah,
technically, but I was born whilst my parents were in Pakistan.
Okay, yeah.
So I came back for a little bit, I think, along the way I was told. So clearly I can't remember this myself, but I think I started some kind of a nursery here, school, and then my father, who was very close to his older brother, and his older brother passed away whilst he was in Pakistan. Some really sad period in his life,
Yeah.
in Dad's life as well. So Dad then decided to sell up whatever they had bought together and so on, and raise or help raise his nephews and nieces in Pakistan. So we were back in Pakistan for a little bit longer this time round. So until probably the age of 8 or 9, when I then returned, starting primary school, junior school, actually, at that time. But I had, because Dad's intention was to raise his nephews and nieces, who went to Lawrence College up in Murray. So did my older brother, who then went on to Punjab University to qualify as a barrister. But he sent me to a local English school. Incredible. I mean, my handwriting from there was, I mean, the teaching was still 1930s English. It was just incredible. And I remember my handwriting when I started, and this is when he actually stuck out for me. Starting the junior school here, my handwriting was in script. And it was incredible. And I had one of my teachers telling me, well, that's not how you write an R, this kind of a squirrely bit. You know, this is how you write an R.
Like simple.
Yeah. And I thought, nah, I'm going to carry on. But of course, as a child, you're sort of still apprehensive because somebody older than you, somebody who is in a powerful place, as a teacher telling you that write like this, so you start to lean towards that. If it wasn't for one of my wonderful teachers, Mrs. Purcell, I still remember her name. Lovely young Welsh lady at that time, but and I've got to say, she was so friendly that some of the kids, we used to actually. She used to invite us around for cookies and tea at her house. Wouldn't happen nowadays, would it?
Yeah, that's it. But not allowed to anymore.
No, but she was such a gem. And she said to me, Naveed, ignore him. Just carry on writing the way you do.
Yeah.
And
where was that then? Was that here in?
That was in
Birmingham?
Yeah. So we moved into Small Heath at that time. So the school, Marlborough School. Lovely old Victorian building. And of course, I relate everything with the buildings.
Yeah, I bet you do.
And so my younger upbringing, or certainly the years that I can remember in Pakistan, were in the village Haveli.
Yeah.
So I fell in love with that. So you obviously have a huge courtyard. You have a veranda that you can actually, during the monsoon rain, you can actually walk around, still cool down, but without going into the rain. So I admired that. I admired some of the buildings that my Dad had designed. He wasn't an architect or a trained architect, but he still had an eye for detail. He started a local school for the girls in the village, which was never there before. So, and since he couldn't find enough money to appoint many teachers, he was also teaching himself there as well. So wonderful thing to do, whilst obviously he was trying to raise his nephews and nieces too. But yes, brilliant. I mean, Marlborough School was a lovely old Victorian building.
And that was your starting point in Birmingham?
Yes, it was. I guess, almost when you open your eyes, I think in a way it was. I mean, apart from the fact that I remember in our village Haveli, and I was doing pull-ups on the side of this veranda with my cousin and my older brother, who had come back from Lawrence College at that time. And I'm filling the gaps here, by the way, a little bit. So if my brother's watching this, or my cousin, I'm only paraphrasing from my memory, shall we say. But they were there, and and they saw me sketching on one of the occasions. And I was designing houses and villas and so on, and whatever I could design at the time.
So
I
this
guess.
is when you were living there before you came here.
So this was in Pakistan. So
you'd
at
been
the
quite
age
young then,
at the age of 7,
7 or 8,
at the age of 7, and so we then had started to have a 3-way conversation, and my brother, or whether he was my cousin, who said to me, "Oh, Naveed, you know what we call people who design houses and buildings?" I said, "No." I said, "Architect." That was the first time that I heard the word architect, and I fell in love with it. I couldn't possibly forget that moment, and one thing that I could never take my focus off is actually being an architect. Doesn't matter whether I didn't know it was a 7-year course at that time, of course, but even if it took me a lifetime, I would do it.
So that's where the seed was kind of planted.
It was actually very much
7.
so, very much so. I think along the way then, at my primary school, I had a little bit of shakiness from one or two teachers who weren't so confident. They didn't have that a deal of confidence in me to qualify or finish off as an architect anyway. And so I had a little bit of a shake at that time. I had a bit of a shakiness, I suppose, in my own confidence and abilities at that time. And then going on to secondary school, again, the great old Sheldon Comprehensive. Incredible place.
So you lived in Small Heath originally. Did you move over towards the Sheldon area, or
no,
was it just down the Cove Road?
No, we actually moved from Moseley to Small Heath.
Yeah.
And no, so we would travel to Sheldon Heath. And
so down the A45.
And that's the thing. My dad was very keen on sending me to a school, a better school, different from, let's say, the local school. So that was the idea. And to be honest, Sheldon Heath School was fantastic at that time. I mean, it had its ups and downs. Later in my life, I met people who were in that school, and they were working with me as well, who were either in that school 5 years before me, or one in particular who was there 15 years before me. So it's wonderful, having that little bit of a group of people. But that's it. It was a travel every morning and back every evening.
No, that's great. So after school and everything, so you knew you wanted to be an architect, so you were following that career path.
Yes.
When did you, what path did you take? Was it like the usual, the norm, college, university? Is that the route you took?
Yes. Interesting, actually, because one thing that was really being pushed at the time was this youth training scheme.
Yeah,
YTS.
Yeah.
So I remember we all had to go and see a careers advisor.
Yeah.
And
like
so
year 10.
Yes.
Year 10, year 11.
Yeah. And I think ours was at U-Tree.
Okay.
U-Tree Lane, I think, or U-Tree. There was an old, again, another Victorian primary school. And so they had their careers advisors sitting there. I said to them, well, they asked me the question. They must have asked me the question. And I said, well, I want to be an architect. And here's the careers advisor. No chance. You have absolutely no chance in qualifying ever as an architect.
Why?
And that's the question I asked.
Yeah.
You don't know me. You just met me now, and you haven't checked how I'm performing at school, whether I'm doing well or not. And yet you can just automatically register that this chap is not going to become an architect ever. And he pushed me a piece of paper. He said, well, look, why don't you sign on to YTS?
Oh, okay.
So that's what he's doing.
Yeah. He's trying to pump the numbers up for the YTS.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I remember actually as much as I was, because I was all kind of absolutely keen to qualify as an architect, become an architect. But at that moment in time, I did feel a little bit deflated. And
like, here's an expert talking to you, someone that talks to people about careers every day, and they're telling you, nah, don't do that, do the YTS
you'll
instead.
never be one.
Yeah, you'll never be one. I can imagine that'd be...
And I felt a bit let down, to be honest. And but it took me a few days to recover. And I thought, well, I'm not going to listen to this careers advisor who's probably has got an ulterior motive.
Yeah, got quotas to hit.
Absolutely. And I picked up the phone in those days and started phoning around a few architects. Came across one only down the road here at the Fireways Island.
Okay.
I forget the name of the practice, but I remember going in.
I bet you remember the building now.
I remember the building. It was on the back of the Fireways.
Yeah.
I remember the fact that it was door and stairs right in front, which
you got the layout now.
Yeah. And going upstairs, turning round to the right hand side, and there was a corridor in the middle with offices either side. I remember all that, and before the days of computers, of course. And this architect, this practice owner, was incredible. He was meant to only give me an hour of his time. It was best part of the day he spent with me, talking through what projects, what subjects I should be taking, and what the route is after that when you hit the university.
Yeah, real world experience. Yeah,
and 3 years degree, a year out in the industry, and then another 2 years of postgraduate diploma, as it was in those days, or a master's degree, and then another year's experience, and then professional examination.
Wow.
And to qualify 7.5 years. And
putting that in context, that's more than, equivalent of medicine.
It's probably, I think, technically the longest course. It is. It's longer than even medicine.
But then obviously after they do the postgrad stuff, the training. But
and the sad thing is, obviously, you don't start to earn decent money, unlike some in the medicine medical field. They can earn money slightly earlier, but in architecture, it was not the right money. But he had his secretary typing all this up for me. He said, "You look, just in case."
He gave you the notes as well.
Yeah,
brilliant.
You'll forget.
Yeah,
but let me get all this typed up for you.
Wow.
And I just could not believe my luck.
And do you know what? No, we find that a lot of people in the industry, like even with everything that we all do, people generally want to help people. Yeah, the kids and stuff especially. So if you're looking for a career, take a leaf out of Nav's book and pick up the phone, drop an email, and you can get the information that you want. People are out there willing to help.
And would you believe, all this time later, I mean, of course, I've been teaching at the university and so on, but all this time later, we got a phone call in the office. And I thought, my gosh, this is the time to pay it forward. I mean, it was almost exactly the same.
Really?
A young kid phoning the office. And of course,
how do I become an architect?
You have the internet nowadays. You have all of that.
Yeah.
But I absolutely respect this kid for actually picking up the phone and speaking to a local practice. So our studio manager, Pardip, she said to me, have this kid here. We do a lot of work experience and very keen on teaching. And I love spending time with my staff and teaching them as well. So, and my staff manage the work experience youngsters. Yeah. So they are learning how to teach as well.
Yeah.
So brilliant. But this was incredible experience because he
Did the same as you.
He did the same as me, came in, and all very nervous. And it's amazing because when I saw that, I thought, this is me all those years ago.
Yeah.
And I was nervous as hell because
I had talk to him.
When I was his age.
Oh, okay, yeah. Back in 5 ways.
So I could see what this kid was going through. I made him as comfortable as possible.
Yeah.
I think I'd return the same gesture. My studio manager kept coming in and saying, "Oh, it's been an hour. Oh, it's been 2 hours. You've got another meeting. It's been 3 hours." But I carried on. I mean, I know she complains that I talk a lot, but he was asking all the right questions. Incredible.
You can see it in him, yeah. So you got your practical advice from this architect in 5 ways.
Yes.
So did you end up going through your A-levels absolutely. What qualifications did you do? What was your route?
I mean, at that point, I thought, this is something I can do. Yeah. I'm not going to be shaken by.
So you gave you a lot of encouragement and support.
No, absolutely. So I took the traditional route, went through college, and applied to the universities. I had an offer from Cambridge University, the School of Architecture. Sadly, though, when I was looking at the best schools at the time, the Birmingham School of Architecture was number 1 at the time. Cambridge, I think, School of Architecture was around about either number 3 or 7. I can't remember exactly. But then I had an open day at Bartlett School of Architecture in London, part of UCL. But for me, it was difficult to move out of Birmingham. I didn't like the idea of actually moving out of Birmingham. But sadly, at that time, Birmingham School of Architecture turned me down.
Oh, God.
So, and I thought, this is crazy. I've been accepted in so many different places. Why have they turned me down? So I still didn't give up. I said, I want to stay local. I want to go to Birmingham School of Architecture, the only school of architecture we had. Yeah. And so I went into the school, went straight up to the admissions officer, who was an interior designer by profession, and Bob Sutton. I still remember his name. Lovely chap. So I went in. I said, "Look, I was carrying my portfolio, so I put my portfolio of artwork in front of him, and I said, look, I have 97% in maths. I had all the percentages, 92% in physics, and so on and so forth. And I said, look, and this is my portfolio. Why have you turned me down?
Must be some mistake."
And he said, we go through the list and pick whatever we can. And he showed me the list. The number of applications they had were immense.
Immense, yeah, I can imagine.
So they went through a few and chose what they could, and then he said, we didn't even get to yours. So, but it's okay. We'll change the decision. And that's what happened. They changed the decision for me, and so I ended up at Birmingham School of Architecture.
Awesome. So you didn't take no for an answer. You again, being a go-getter, you went and found out and you got it sorted out.
Yeah, but not in an aggressive way.
No, in a nice way. You went in an inquisitive way.
Yeah, I mean, I think my personality has never been aggressive. No. So it was just subtle, but asking the questions and trying to understand why.
But sometimes if you don't ask, you don't get.
True, very true. And the thing is, if Bob turned around and gave me a very constructive response,
you'd be like, fair enough.
I'd have thought, fair enough.
Yeah, that's it. So you didn't get obviously swayed from your Birmingham plan. So you went to Birmingham University, University of Architecture. So once you've qualified from there, what was your first kind of job in the industry? Where did you work first?
Yeah, so I think I finished my degree around, you're making me think now, but roughly around about 93, I believe. And that was, of course, a recession time.
Oh.
And most architecture students were absolutely struggling to get a placement year to,
Just get out, into market.
And of course, we do have a code of conduct that nobody should work without pay. So, but students were prepared to work without pay. But of course,
time period,
architects being true to their code, they wouldn't employ people and take advantage of them and without pay. Some did, obviously, but I think generally, I'm very proud of our profession that we do take things very, very seriously. And so, but thankfully, I managed to find a job for very little money. But money wasn't important enough to get me there and back, and probably sometimes pay for my lunch. But it wasn't a lot of money. But it was a struggling practice, one-man band, him and his assistant, his PA, and a couple of consultants who used to work for him part-time. John Porter, I was thinking of the name actually, John Porter. Do you know the where the Argos used to be in Solihull Town Centre?
Yeah.
So his office used to be upstairs in Jago House.
Oh, no,
Jago House. Coming back to you. I'm impressed. You said to me as well that when you start talking, everything will come back to you.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Jago House.
It does, yeah.
And I remember because he always felt a little bit heavy-hearted because he wasn't paying me a lot of money, but I was working around the clock. But that's what architects do. We love what we do.
Get into the job, yeah.
Why design something in 5 minutes when you can keep rehashing it and redesigning it
and perfect it
over 5 days?
Yeah.
And you have to perfect it. And I think that attention to detail, that's where it comes from. And especially when you have an element of OCD, which I have to say most of my colleagues in the industry would have. I certainly do have.
Yeah.
But
part and parcel of the job, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Because when you start looking at the details of things, it's impossible not to have OCD.
Yeah.
But because he used to feel a little bit guilty about paying me little, because that's all he could afford. We did a lot of work for Solihull Council, some real tentative but good regeneration projects in places like Smithswood, Chelmsley Wood, and trying to turn those places around.
Yeah.
And so we worked on many of those centres there. But of course, it was little bits of work. And apart from one big project that came in, and he said to me, Naveed, why don't you have a go at it? And I thought, thank goodness. And I that became my passion for a little bit. But that project didn't go ahead either because of obviously the market being very fragile at the time. But one thing that John Porter did for me was he said, look, Naveed, some of the smaller projects I'm taking on to survive, but some of the really small projects, how about you do those in your own time, and you can earn money from
build them direct.
From that, and you can build them direct. Yes. So he started me off with some of these projects, little extensions and so on, which, as it happens, once people get to know you, you end up getting more inquiries.
Yeah, referrals.
Yeah, and I remember buying a mobile phone, which was, well, you had to carry with both hands, and when you flip it open, it's anyway. Yeah. But I had a mobile phone to help me with our business, but I carried that through into then after my year out for the year part 2, the postgraduate diploma. So I was studying and I was doing those extensions at the same time, and that's the amazing thing, that I was seeing some of the other students who would be working in a bar, pub, or whatever, and they are then coming into the university all very exhausted, whereas I'm actually working on these at home. And then, of course, in addition to that, I had a bit of an interest in doing graphic design. And so I started to design some of the Asian fashion magazines. So I started to design some posters for them, then brochures, and then booklets, and the magazines itself. Wonderful. I mean, I could work 24/7 almost. It was, well, I suppose, when you are young, you can.
You're putting the effort in, aren't you? Because you're getting professional experience, commercial experience of what you loved.
Commerciality.
And so it doesn't affect you, does it? It doesn't feel like work when you love it.
And sadly, that's one thing that we have in our profession that the universities and the best schools of architecture don't teach you, is how to be commercially minded.
Yeah. And take on. Do you think that helped you? Because obviously you were dealing with these clients directly, doing the extensions and doing the smaller jobs on your mobile phone. Were you going out to their homes and things?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
of
so
course.
you were getting...
giving a fee proposal,
Yeah.
and proceeding with me or not. And I think, again, trying to introduce, even though they were fairly straightforward, but I was still trying to introduce an element of good design.
Yeah, of course.
And saying to them,
Doing
well, have
good
you
job
thought
for
about
them.
it this
Yeah,
way?
yeah,
Have you thought about it that way?
That's
Yes.
it.
So
That's
it
really
was a great personal development as well.
No, brilliant. And so after that, once you'd done your postgrad and kind of completed university, did you go back and work for another firm? What point did you take the leap and become self-employed? Even though you were kind of partially.
Absolutely. I mean, I carried on with those smaller projects whilst at the university.
Brilliant.
But as soon as I finished my part 2 and went on to my second year of experience, when I had a job offer from a company in Wolverhampton, the first thing I had decided that, well, look, that is my career path. I'll have to sadly give up the extensions. One, the company that I'm going to will not be taking on these smaller projects.
Because you'll be full-time working for them on a commercial basis,
and it is a little bit of, I mean, I felt genuinely at that time that it's almost like being disloyal. Doing my own projects whilst I'm working for somebody else. What am I committing to? And what am I more loyal towards? My own little projects, or whether I'm actually working?
Job. Yeah.
So
interesting with that job, that role.
So that's what I did. I decided to give up the smaller projects at that time, focus entirely on my real job.
And position.
And then qualified as an architect straight after that. It was wonderful. I mean, the great practice, great small practice, very well run, commercially very strong. In fact, one of our part 3 lecturers at the university was the head of that firm.
Oh, wow. So there's a connection there.
Absolutely. And he was probably one of the fewer architects that I've come across who was very, very commercial about things, and teaching part 3 students how to run a practice.
Brilliant. So when you were working for the firm in Solihull originally, obviously on low income, how important was it that you at that point, were you living on your own? Were you living with family?
Living with family.
Yeah, so this was pre-marriage, pre-family and everything, obviously a young lad. So you had your support from your family, and because obviously you just had enough to kind of get to work and back, and obviously going through university stuff. So how important do you think that was in your kind of career steps?
Oh, very much so. I mean, I think it's it was again a bit of an eye-opener entering into the commercial world.
Yeah.
But I think the question that you're probably really asking is that, low income and barely surviving, how good of an experience that was. And I'm actually eternally grateful for that experience.
Yeah. Opened the door for you, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the world of degree extensions, because I can imagine your confidence built up a lot with that.
Otherwise, perhaps I might never have ventured into setting up on my own.
Yeah.
And Kamran, this is what I was going to say to you, that after that, I moved to a large practice in the Jewelry Quarter.
Yeah.
Fantastic practice. They took me on to lead on some of their smaller projects on the hospitals and so on. Felt that even though it was a very, very old 1920s practice,
Wow.
But I think they were perhaps not the most organized. Then I moved to another practice, which was just literally further down the road here, across Plough and Harrow, next door to them.
Yeah.
And that practice was incredible. So very well organized, Oxford-based practice originally, and did quite a bit of work with them. And then just looping back, some of those clients from my younger years who had small projects, some of them, guess what, became developers.
Yeah.
So they contacted me, one of them in particular, and Bilal, and he said, Naveed, I've got these projects that I want to get off the ground. You fancy helping? So naturally, the first thing that I did was to take those projects to the practice that I worked for.
Yeah, push them to the practice.
And they had me as a senior associate level, actually. I was there. So I took the projects to the main partner from Oxford, who came to visit us on one occasion. And he said, yes, we'll take those on. I also wanted to discuss the progression for myself, naturally.
If you bring a lot of business to the table, then,
Yeah. And I think, sadly, I found at that time, I mean, I haven't really had major experiences of racism as such. I've generally been fairly okay, apart from when I first started Charlton Heath School, being chased by a gang of sixth formers and saying, there's a P. Let's go and get him. And of course, what they didn't realize that I would be very good at sprinting. So I ran straight to the lower school and, of course, banged on the door, and the prefect, who was nervous like hell, and so was the head teacher, quickly opened the door and closed the door right behind me. So I got away. But sadly, I think on this occasion, I felt that there was a little bit of a reluctance. Reluctance to minority community, shall we say, entering into the main line as such.
Into development and pushing on.
I mean, things are different now, of course. And I think many people would probably think, well, can't see that. But genuinely, overtly said or suggested, or any kind of remarks that it doesn't have to be, but it was all very kind of subtle and underhanded. And I just felt that there was a little bit of a reluctance. So I came at one lunchtime, and there was this chap that I kind of knew at the university, an acquaintance. So not a friend, we were never that close, but we used to have conversations occasionally. And he used to work for a practice across the road to us. And so we started to walk out together for lunch. And I said to him, Khalil, his name is, lovely, lovely chap, became a lifelong partner now, or friend. So I said, Khalil, if I decide to set up a practice, would you join me? And he said, yeah, why not? I thought, okay, we'll go straight down the middle, 50-50. And that's it. And he said, yeah, but can I just ask one thing? You're bringing all the projects in.
Mm.
Why are you making me 50%
Yeah.
partner? So I said, well, who do you think is going to do all the hard work? I mean, one thing I've never liked is drawing on the computer.
Yeah.
Never. I always design freehand, still do. Even in those days, I used to design freehand. And if I had assistants who will be actually drawing on the computer. And Khalil was brilliant on CAD.
I was going to say, what software would it? It would have been CAD back then, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, no, it was AutoCAD in those days. Yes,
yeah.
I mean, I think for him especially, I used something different, which was MicroStation. The thing about MicroStation was that it was a bit more design-led.
Yeah.
I felt ArchiCAD was just too boringly technical for me. I could never come to grip with that.
Killed your creativeness.
Genuinely, I'm impressed that you saw through that. I think that's exactly what it does to you. AutoCAD kills creativity, is how I see it. And but we set up together and taking a leap. I mean, from a paid job, secure job, to stepping out into the wild and private developers, because you don't know which way it's going to go necessarily.
So what year is this? Is it late 90s now you're talking?
So this is 2000.
Okay,
so I had my son in 2001.
Okay.
So 2002, 3.
So
2003 I set up on my
So
own.
you got married, families kind of establishing.
Yes.
And then so you set up 2003.
2003.
So this is at a point where you've got quite a lot of commitments.
Yes.
You're living out obviously on your own now with the family, and because I think you mentioned that you moved to your location in Hall Green.
Yes.
What year was that?
That was in. We bought the property in '99, but we both liked my extended family.
Yeah.
So stayed with my parents, my brother, my sister-in-law.
Awesome.
And of course, my sister-in-law, who was the main lady of the house, for example.
The driver,
but my wife Sophie and my sister-in-law Salma, they found a fantastic ground rules, and my sister-in-law is a great chef.
Yeah,
she cooks very well, and Sophie, my wife, is brilliant at cleaning. So they found their territories. So nobody would venture into each other. So they had a fantastic relationship. I mean, they are still very, very close.
Awesome. But now here you are. You've got your house. You got your young family. You got your new family.
Yeah.
And now you're, jumping out of the comfort zone into your own.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When we moved out, the very first night, of course, you had the entire family helping you move, and your parents, your brothers,
big family support.
Your sister-in-law, and then we were naturally there until late at night, and so 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and came to the point when they were leaving. And my gosh, of course, emotionally, the door shuts, you just can't stop crying. I still remember
crying out of fear or crying out of excitement, or a bit of both.
Well, I think a bit of both, but more emotional. The fact that the people that you wake up with in the morning, the people that you go to sleep with, and leave the TV room, for example, together, or it's going to be different. So I guess anxiety, anticipation, combination, and not seeing your parents.
Every day.
Yeah,
that's it.
So it was all that, but of course we knew we have to take that step. I mean, naturally in life you have to, don't you? And I think my brother turned around to me and he said, "Look, actually, I don't know whether it was my brother or my dad. I have them both in the same esteem level, because
Amazing.
my brother is 15 years older than me, and
So dad too.
he is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so it was either my dad or my brother turned around and said, look, it doesn't matter. We'll just rent this place out. Come back.
Yeah.
And I still remember this.
That's the fallback option, isn't it?
With the tears rolling down my cheeks, bouncing off my lips, and I can't utter a word, but I was shaking my head. In other words, I've got to do this. Yeah. So.
No, brilliant. So here you are. You've kind of taken a new area of your life. Next section. So where did you locate? Or what was it Made Architecture from the beginning, or was it a different name?
No, it was a partnership. So it wasn't a limited company. So we had to find an office. So Custard Factory became our first spot.
Okay.
And
that's a very cool place, isn't it? So
it was, but sadly we didn't have one of those converted Custard Factory studios. It was in the new building across the cul-de-sac.
Still a cool address for an architect.
Still, absolutely. And so we had a small, boring office with 3 desks. It's only the 2 of us, but 3 desks.
Spare one. Expansion room.
And I think it was probably within a few months that we thought we need a bigger place. Because it's not.
So what did you consider? So obviously you had your developments coming in off your private clients from day one. Were you advertising? How were you kind of getting? Was it all referral work?
Majority of the time, and even I think to this day in the main, it's always referrals, recommendations, and repeat.
Yeah, because obviously you've got developers doing other things. Yeah. So when you moved, obviously that practice grew. So did you move to Jewellery Quarter at that point? Was it?
We thought we need to hire people.
Yeah, of course, expanding the team.
And so I think Benny Gray, who used to own the Custard Factory, he also owned the Big Peg in the Jewellery Quarter.
Yeah.
So that was a larger office, and it was a bit more of a rough and ready one, and I kind of felt better as a studio. So we moved there, but I think within, if I remember correctly, within a year we grew to 8 people.
8 people.
And then I think within...
How did you find that transition? Because obviously when you're in such a creative industry, it's your design, it's your kind of stamp. So moving into, getting your clients to be looked after by another architect that's working for you, how do you let go of that control of design? Did you find it difficult?
Impossible. So impossible that I didn't let go of my control at all.
So you kept your clients to yourself like that? Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, I'm just...
Yeah.
I mean, I think we moved from there to further down the road in Victoria Street, opposite the Ram Garhia Sikh temple.
So at this point, you're continuously expanding.
We are.
But you're not having it. So all your kind of developers you keep under your belt, but new clients, you're kind of passing them on to the other architects.
No, because we're
overseeing everything.
Yeah, overseeing everything.
Yeah.
And of course, you have to. And of course, I've got a fantastic partner who's incredible on the technical aspect of things, and also incredibly talented when it comes to making things happen on the computer. It was okay for me. I mean, I would doodle here and there. I would go out and meet clients.
Yeah, so you're
and I used to get a regular break.
Generation.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
Khalil had, I think after a year or so of moving to Victoria Street office, he had bloodshot red eyes of staring at the computer, because in the early days we would be working around the clock.
Yeah, so
we were sleeping in the office.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But of course the difference was that I would get that little bit of a break of doodling, but not stuck with the computer.
And meeting clients at events.
And meeting clients.
Out,
yeah, absolutely. And sketching when I'm with a client, sketching on a napkin.
Yeah.
Incredible. But I think I've got to really say this, that, without Khalil, we wouldn't be where we are. And that chap was almost like a a printer for me. And I'll explain this in a second. We had one of our big projects coming into us, and you keep on thinking about the problem and resolving it. And that's what we do as architects. We keep looking at the problem and how to fix it and how to come up with an idea. Such a difficult site, such a tight site, and and then you'd start to look at the positives. Of course, that is a corner site and so on. But we, I think between us tried to design something, wouldn't work. And he carried on the computer that night. I went home and just couldn't come up with the best idea that I felt most comfortable with. Gave up in the end eventually, and I think I must have probably gone to bed early at that time, 1 o'clock maybe in the morning, so earlier than usual. Woke up early the next day and took a shower. And it came to me, just like all that water from the shower head. It came to me, and I thought, that's the solution. Brilliant. I ran over to my office at home, and do you remember fax machines?
Yeah, of course.
So I quickly
now we're really showing our age.
I quickly sketched this couple of doodles and faxed it over to the office. Khalil used to be in the office about 6 o'clock in the morning. Wow. Incredible chap. And by the time...
Did he leave?
Did he ever leave the office?
Do you think he did? Or he just said, I've been here from 6, but really...
Yeah.
Just gone and got changed and taken a shower somewhere.
It really wouldn't surprise me if he stayed in the office. I mean, we stayed in the office for a little bit on all-nighters and so on.
Big jobs.
But I think he wouldn't surprise me, because sometimes I used to leave him in the office and go home and then come in the morning and he's still there. But I think I got to the office probably 9 or 10 that morning, and he had it all drawn up,
done
on the computer.
Yeah,
I thought, incredible. I mean, don't get me wrong. This chap is very talented.
Yeah,
he's not just on the CAD and being able. He can do that. He can do that with his eyes closed. But he was a good designer as well.
Yeah.
But that's what made us very compatible, because it was almost like he could, if I started a line, he could finish it for me.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
You could see where your design creative is going, and he could just extrapolate from there and finish it. Yeah.
Brilliant way of explaining
it.
That's exactly what it was.
But you have to have that initial spark.
Yes. And I think, and that's again, I would say, thanks to him, I didn't have to worry about some of the other things, how the project is being developed in the office, how he was managing all the staff on a day-to-day. So I had probably the easier part of sketching something and talking to him.
Yeah.
Because he would understand exactly what I'm saying without too many words. But he had to then use his own words and simplify everything for others to draw from.
The team, so you could get the best skills out of them and you how to do it. So obviously you're probably into like 2004, 2005. So at this point, this is where we initially met so from all your referrals and things, you're obviously getting a lot of jobs in.
Yes.
We met on the Highgate Road development of the former Euro packaging plant.
The former Euro packaging site.
Because I was working at my father's practice at the time, so the accountancy, so it would have been a joint mutual client. And obviously we met then, and I saw all your design work, and I saw, because obviously that was a major development. So when you kind of gone into that league, it just built up gradually, like through your developments.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. It was just referrals. It was a mutual contact, Afzal Mirza, who also introduced us. Very active, lovely chap.
Yeah, I agree.
Just doesn't seem to age at all.
He's very young at heart. And
he is.
He'd probably listen to this, so thanks for the referrals. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just don't know how he keeps himself so busy, but still has time for everything.
Yeah.
He's incredible. But yes, so that was probably walking around the site, and then Yaqub Sab, what a fantastic character.
Yeah.
Such a full of energy, full of ideas. I think I actually almost felt that creative connectivity.
Yeah. He knew what he wanted with that project. He could see exactly. And it's brilliant. Yeah, I remember seeing the plans and everything, and it was very complex. And
I think he loved talking about that project with me, and because I could understand what he was trying to create.
Spark, yeah.
And he was, I guess, feeding off me as well to some extent. And I remember walking around, and I said, this tram depot. And he said, it can be something nice, can't he? Or do we need to demolish it? I said, no, you don't want to demolish a building like this. This is coming from a child, or from a chap who, as a child, used to walk around the old Digbeth, taking photos, black and white photography.
Okay, wow.
So of the cobble-paved streets. Yeah. And what I always found the most exciting is you can get Victorian buildings, very ornate and so on. Yeah, brilliant. They are very ornate. Yeah. They're beautiful. But what I used to love the most were the old Victorian warehouses. And the Victorian warehouse architecture is just incredible. I used to walk around Digbeth thinking, this could be our Manhattan. Yeah. We can have all of these buildings at some point converted into apartments where we have these fantastic lofty apartments.
Yeah. And that's what's happening in Digbeth now.
That's exactly what's happening.
Down the back of...
I should have copyrighted that idea or bought into it myself.
Yeah, that's it at the time.
But no, it's incredible. Perhaps not happening at that time, and there's always a time and place.
Exactly.
Many, many decades later, obviously turning our own attention to property development, we are doing 3 towers in the old Digbeth.
That's it. So you've gone return there eventually.
The thing is, I always have loved Birmingham. Yeah. Loved Digbeth when people used to probably think that I'm weird going around taking photos.
That was your job, though. That was what you. That was your interest.
That was my passion. I mean, there used to be a Fuji film
camera,
development developers just in Digbeth behind the old police station.
Yeah,
it's still there. But Fujifilm is no longer there. But I used to take it to them, and they used to develop it. And whether it was black and white or color, I still used to ask for higher saturation, because even with the black and white, you get that little bit of a glint of color. And I love that. So I used to, any money that I used to make from my private projects, shall we say, in those days, I would use the money on that. So it wasn't just during my childhood, but even later on when I was at university, I still used to do the same old thing. I think my photos were shown in Birmingham Library at that time for a short while.
Wow, brilliant. Yeah, awesome. So that development on the Euro packaging, that was obviously that you got planning permission for that off the bat, didn't you? The first go.
Yes. So I think again, I mean, it's. We had some difficulty, but nevertheless, I think the planning department saw what we were trying to create.
Yeah. Would you say that because they wanted it, didn't they? Because obviously it's a derelict site.
Well,
eyesore and all the rest of it.
Yeah, you would think so, but it wasn't so easy at that time. But nevertheless, they worked very well with us in the end. But yeah, I think the difficulty was the policy that they have to work to as well. So we had one local town centre on the one side in Ladypool Road, and then Spark Hill was another local town centre.
So you're hitting the boundary.
And so outside of town centre developments, for any kind of retail was frowned upon from a policy point of view. So we had to get a retail impact assessment prepared to justify that it's not going to have a negative impact on that. It's going to add to it. We know that from common sense. Joining the two centres will only make it far stronger. And most importantly, it gives an eclectic mix of retail units.
Yeah.
And that's what we did with this shopping
because obviously
complex.
we're quite, because we know what the development was supposed to be, but at that point it was going to be, just for the audience, on the left hand side. So if you look at the building head on, so the full Euro packaging, correct me if I'm wrong, if I remember right, the left hand side, which is the old tram bit,
Yes,
was going to be indoor shopping mall.
that's right.
To the rear of that was going to be a 350 plus car park, multi-story.
No, multi-story car park was behind
at
the other
back.
building. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, across the back. So it's going to be the multi-story, but there's going to be 300 plus parking spaces in that area, which even today, even more so today, the whole area is desperate for parking.
Yes.
And then across the front, it was going to be, so you had your indoor shopping mall, parking at the back. Then on the right-hand side was going to be all the food sections and food restaurants. And
That's it.
that.
So banqueting facility, which
Ground floor
Yaqub Sab was
banqueting,
very keen on.
Yeah.
That was going to be the only new build part of the Euro
Section,
packaging bit. Very industrial and so on, but the building was very sound. No point sort of spending too much money changing it.
Yeah,
It was-
that's it. Yeah.
and we had the heights to work with as well. So it just needed a little bit of a introduction by way of a foyer space in front. And that's what we created there. Nice, simple glass frontage, very elegant, north facing as well. So it doesn't get too hot in that foyer. It's nice and cool. The middle section was going to be a restaurant. And this is where really have to, hats off to Yaqub Sab. He had this idea of rooftop barbecue.
Yeah.
And he then heard about one happening in Dubai. He actually traveled across to look at that as well.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was an incredible idea. To me, it was unheard of. But of course,
But he was, his background, he was a pioneer in food, wasn't he? So the first halal buffet restaurant in Birmingham on Ladypool Road, and then the first halal Chinese.
Absolutely.
In, if not the UK, Birmingham at least, he was at the time. And then obviously now they're in Yaqub Steakhouse, the family. And so it doesn't surprise me that he came up with that idea, because he was obviously the pioneering in the restaurant industry at the time.
No, absolutely. And to be honest, when he mentioned those words, because he was very good at describing things.
Yeah, so it made your job easier to put it together into
when he described it, I automatically formed a picture in my head. And it was incredible. So we had fantastic area for the roof garden, and which would host the barbecues. Wonderful. So that's the
that
food.
would have kind of connected up with and this is behind, ahead of the curve, the shisha lounges and the dessert lounges and stuff. So it would have been a good kind of platform for that as well.
It would have been brilliant, because I think we all seen some of these rooftop barbecue places in the Middle East, combined with the shisha. It's incredible. And again, we thought about awnings, umbrellas coming out to protect you from the rain, rather than,
because obviously we are in England, not in Dubai.
No. Yeah. In Dubai, you protect yourself from the sun.
Yeah, the sand. Yeah.
So the middle section was all about food, on 3 or 4 different floors, I think, and then the retail complex and building I love absolutely. It's an old tram depot. It was used extensively during the war as well, for the emergency services.
Wow.
So incredible history. And to put a small shopping mall inside there with, huge, vast open space. Now it's got sort of just, tiny little shops. We're talking about proper shops, like you would find in the bull ring. Large spaces.
When it was told to me, it was described as a mini Touchwood.
Yeah,
from Solihull.
You could say that. Better designed. Even if I do say so myself.
Well, Victorian facade and everything else.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You had a fantastic starting place. And rather than having everything new, and rather than being inspired by some of American out of town shopping centres, no, we had a wealth of features, character here in the building, which character you can't build straight away. It comes with time. And we've had the combination of the character with the amenities and the facilities on the inside, which
connected to the modern section,
which creates the perfect mix of the two. And I actually remember having discussions with Yaqub Saab. How about having live music in the main foyer? So you had the huge, I guess, if I have to remember, almost as wide concourse as the bull ring, and having some cartwallas in the middle, creating that little bit of a, almost like an evening in the Indian subcontinent, where you have, that lovely subtle light, and cartwallas and beautiful. And so we wanted to kind of replicate that, but of course indoors, with a glass roof, over it, and live music. Very, very, I think all three of us shared that idea. I loved that idea. And of course, one of the things that I did asked my guys who were doing the 3D visuals, don't forget the piano.
In the middle section. But obviously, unfortunately, that project was ahead of its time. Wrong place. Right place, wrong time.
Yes.
Because obviously it fell into a recession in 2007, 2008. So project was put on hold. Then subsequently sold off by the family and in different sections.
Sadly. It was no longer one united project.
That's it, yeah.
But the one thing to interject.
Yeah.
One thing that project did was wake up the regeneration team at Birmingham. So on the back of that, they were able to secure some funding from the European Union for Birmingham. And in the end, Birmingham could not match fund to get all of the 21 million. But whatever they had put together, they started to then spend on the local businesses, giving them frontage grants to improve the place and so on. And I remember walking around with a couple of local activists and teaching some of the business owners that there is this funding that you can apply for.
To help the front of your stores. That's brilliant. So obviously some positivity did come off the back of that. But then, so with you've been involved in a number of iconic sites, so we can't talk about all of them today, but the one thing I did want to talk about, because being in that area, again, it's directly across the road, linked to the Yaqub family, is the big mosque, the ICOB. So how did that come about? Where was did you get introduced to? Because that's it's behind there, isn't it? It's Stony Lane, the mosque there.
It is,
in charge of it. What's that called again? Is that
it was called the Qadiriya Trust, but
Qadiriya Trust, that's correct,
centre's called the ICOB.
There's the ICOB Centre for the New Development.
Britain, yes.
Well, Islamic Central Britain.
It was an interesting one how that started, and obviously, I would love the opportunity of creating something for the Muslim community here, and this was a great opportunity. The only thing that I used to shy away from some of the mosque projects, primarily because, one, I did not want to do a copy and paste.
Yeah.
a pastiche type building.
Mm.
And the brief always ends up going that way.
Very similar. Yeah.
We want something from our local village or from the Indian subcontinent, or in this particular case, it was a copy of the Prophet's Mosque from Saudi.
Yeah.
So I think interesting when I was introduced to, I had a phone call actually. I think again they obtained my number from somebody and got in touch.
So again, another referral.
Again,
yeah.
And so I answered the phone and they said, look, could you come and see us? So I thought, well, I'll go out there as a little bit of an advisory service, but I can't imagine this going anywhere because they will be asking me to create something traditional that I don't want to. So when I went in, they were all very ready, very, very courteous, very hospitable, snacks laid out and whatnot. So I had that meeting and certainly came out pounds heavier, but that's a story for another time. But I said, look, what do you want to create here? And they said, a kind of small version of Prophet's Mosque. I said, well, do you really need an architect for that? Because it seems like you've got it all figured out.
The design's there.
The design's there. Just copy and
pictures
paste
of it.
I wasn't being facetious or aggressive about it. I said, well, look, if that's what you're asking for, then do you really need an architect? And I said, well, what would you suggest? I said, well, look, you've got a fantastic opportunity here to create something
iconic
that would be for the future generation. You've got an opportunity to create British Islamic architecture. So you borrow from here, you borrow the design features, language from here. And what you don't want to do is create a pastiche. You also borrow from the Islamic architecture, all the principles of light, geometry, spaces. Borrow those, but create something which is more unique. And I think they actually love that. I was amazed that I still had to pinch myself. I couldn't believe that they were happy to go down that route. And I think
very forward thinking, isn't it? Like you said, it's very untraditional.
It takes the right kind of people, doesn't it?
Definitely.
And Ramzan Saab and Peer Tayyab Saab, they're very, very much tuned into that. And they said, look, we love that idea, and partly because we have tried already and it was rejected. We were trying to create a smaller version of the Prophet's Mosque. But I said, this is what you need to do. And they said, well, funny enough, that's exactly what the city council was saying as well. I said, yeah, exactly. They're not against religious buildings. You just have to create the right one. So
bring something for Birmingham, put it on the map.
Absolutely, absolutely. 100%. I mean, on the back of the scheme, as it was developing, they were able to acquire some of the city council land, which was
to the rear,
right on the junction, the old car park,
Road, and
where Islamic Relief used to be once upon a time. And then the cul-de-sac Stony Lane, which was left there as space left over. The highways agreed to give that as well, because I said to the planning department, I said, look, we're creating a landmark building on a gateway site. Do you really want it to be behind this horrible little car park at the front? That takes a pride of place over a piece of architecture
on the main junction
or a
point
main
in
junction.
that whole area. Yeah.
And so that was given to them at a very sensible price, I'm sure.
What's the situation with that? When's it going to be commence construction or
Well,
completion even?
yeah, I mean,
So obviously the hoarding went up. Obviously, I see that. I drive past that all the time. But
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think just going back to what you were saying, iconic, not just for the sake of creating it, but I started off from creating a civic building. So not just focusing on religious elements at all either, but creating a civic building which will stand the test of time, and it will be a landmark to the city. And that's it. The city and its people. So where we are with our project at this moment in time is we have made a start. And of course, the donations are still being collected.
However, very active with them.
We do need some real solid financial support on that. It is a very strong landmark project, but it's also a commercially viable project, and that's one of the things that the trustees were very keen on. And when I discussed it with them, that you want to be able to create something here which keeps the masjid funded in the future as well.
Absolutely.
Bucket donations will no longer work, really. So you do need to keep the commercial element in there to keep the spiritual element going.
You need an engine for the
absolutely
site, to keep it churning.
So we had some retail mixed into that, some residential apartment schemes mixed into that, and in addition to that, a specialist school as well. And all of these could potentially help to fund the project, but also keep it going in the future. So the discussions are being had in terms of operators coming in to run the school, for example, investors potentially coming in to invest in the school with a solid operator operating it, and that is profitable for the investors. They make their return, but also the trustees can ensure that the spiritual element of it is funded.
As well as the donations continuously to come in.
As well as donations. Donations are always needed, of course, but for a project of this stature, it's going to be the largest mosque in Birmingham. It's going to be the largest one in the UK, and if I'm not mistaken, it's probably
one of the largest
in Europe.
Can I, obviously, my father's involvement in Gumgorshri from the early days.
Yes.
So that was, I've grown up hearing this, because that was always in the 90s. It was we want to build this mosque, we want to make it sustainable, we want to make it the biggest in the UK, biggest in Birmingham, definite, and one of the largest in Europe. So when it was built at the time, mid-90s, late 90s, when it was finished, it was, multi-purpose, multi-use, multi-level. And my father was a big advocate for that, because he said we can't always rely upon, look at the churches, look what's happening in the churches. It's financial problems. If you're not getting bums on we don't have seats, we have the floor, but if you're not getting the head count into the premises, that's it. If you're not getting the head count into the mosque, and if it depletes, God forbid it does deplete in the future, then what will the mosque do? It will just become a massive relic. And it'll become, redeveloped. It'll be sold off and redeveloped for housing at some point, or a big apartment block. So we don't want that to happen. So it was the same kind of remit. So we've got to make it sustainable. So we got the college that had the funeral service, that had all the different properties around the main centre precinct, and they're always buying other properties put for other commercial community use. And it works really well. Obviously, it became the largest financial institution, Islamic financial institution in Birmingham. So what you're saying rings true. It does work.
Yes.
It does, so it will help sustain it. So, hopefully, inshallah, you'll get the funding. The project will get its backers.
No, very much hope so.
Yeah.
I have a meeting with the trustees, a whole team of volunteers tomorrow.
Brilliant. Oh wow! So it's very, very here and now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. And of course, we will be making journeys out to Turkey and the Middle East as well.
To meet key people. Yeah. Awesome. No, fantastic. And how can the public get involved in the project? How can they donate? Is there donation links? Is there?
There is. ICOB are actually, they have a very good team. And I think whether you look for ICOB on the social media or go to their website, it would say a number of different ways of donating, prayer mats, for example, or
separate all that into different
so
elements.
It is. They're very, very good, but I think they perhaps need more help in, shall we say, corporate,
institutional level funding.
Somebody who's a lot more, shall we say, organized in that way. Because most of the trustees, whilst they might have some of their own businesses and so on, but majority of the trustees, they are brought together for one common goal, and in their particular case, it's all about spirituality.
Of course.
So I think
which is the main point, really.
Other than people being generous and not even asking for the generosity sometimes as well, because they almost feel nervous about that.
And kind of reserved, aren't they?
Yeah. So I think what they need is a team, funding team working full time with different avenues in looking at investors and giving the investors their return over time.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so we'll definitely be putting this bit out as a short. So if we can get any attention to this, if you've got anyone interested, or if you've got interest yourself, we'll put the links below so you can get in touch with the organisation and with Naveed here. And if you can help with that project, that'd be brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you're obviously involved in a lot of stuff. This is the thing. But have you found that? Because obviously, at the point in your career, you're with Halil. You're working in the Big Peg. So how have you developed from there?
So after that, we went into a I remember now. So the first thing that I did at that time, a young practice of architects, wasn't particularly flavor of the month as such. So one thing that I thought, let me buy an older practice so we can be around for a while.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I did was I bought out a small practice, which became a one-man band almost, or two people, in Greenfield Crescent, just around the corner.
From here?
In Edgbaston.
Edgbaston.
So just off Calthorpe Road, I think.
Okay.
Brian Bannister projects. And so
you bought that client book into your place?
I mean, he was 75 years old at that time, still going strong, still very IT literate as well.
Wow, awesome. And looking for an exit.
So he was looking for an exit.
Yeah.
I bought the practice, and he said, I can't stop working, because if I stop, I'll stop forever.
Yeah.
And I think no architect should stop working ever.
Put down the pencil.
So he said, as part of the deal, can I work? And so we were obviously the jewelry quarter at that time. And so he worked from the office. Incredible chap. And
I bet you learned a few things from him as well.
Well, yes, I mean, he worked very hard, quicker than even any of the youngsters who were working there. And
it's experience, isn't it?
It is. And he would have, I think Wednesday he used to play golf. So that was a day off.
Yeah.
So he was working 3 I think, of the 5 days, and then he wanted the longer weekend.
Yeah.
So it was great. And then soon after that, I started thinking about buying another practice.
Works well.
And then came across a project that a client that came to us who became a friend. He used to work at the old Profits Garage. Do you remember?
BMW, yeah. We used to buy cars from there, so I remember that very well.
Yeah, so he brilliant chap. He became a good friend. He bought a site which had planning permission for a house, and he came to me and he said, "Look, can you build this?" I said, "Well, why don't you go to the architects who designed this in the first place?"
Yeah.
It's slightly different to us. It's more of a straightforward build, nothing unique about it. But I'm not just saying it for that purpose, but I'm just saying it'll be more cost effective if you stay with them. And he said, "Well, I don't know them." So, well, look, it doesn't matter. I'll pick up the phone. So I picked up the phone to Chris Fallows, Burt Dalton, I think they were called, because he was going through the same motions. He's been around a lot longer than me, but he was buying other practices and growing.
Yeah.
So we got talking, and I remember I started the conversation whilst I was in the office in the Jewelry Quarter. Then I was picking up my children from school, so drove all the way back, still on the phone, in the school playground waiting for the kids to come out, still on the phone to Chris. So both of us could talk forever. And we decided to get together, have a coffee, and we started chatting. And so we decided to do a little bit of a merger.
Awesome.
And that's we had to choose the place to move to. Jewelry Quarter used to take me forever. Coming from the Solihull side,
I can imagine.
It would take me an hour and a half. It takes even longer now, doesn't it? But in the mornings, it used to take me an hour and a quarter. In the evenings,
well, it does now. All the roads are 30 miles an hour, so even if the traffic's clear, you're still buggered.
Yeah. So, but we decided to move to Morsel Common, and that was nice.
Nice
a bit
spot,
more relaxing.
My in-laws live there, so it's a very nice place.
And right next door to Heart of England School.
That's where my wife went.
Yeah,
secondary school.
Really?
So she grew up in Morsel Common. So
we started a badminton club there. Actually.
Oh, really?
So,
it's nice premises. Well, nice site, and it's a lovely area. Yeah, so there you go. There's another connection.
so that's what happened. We joined forces, and we then parted ways during the credit crunch.
Okay.
I think it was difficult for us at that time. My projects were primarily commercial, which lasted a bit longer. Chris's projects were more of house builder stuff, which I would never touch. To be honest, that's just repetition. It's regurgitation. Large
development,
1,000 houses or whatever.
Oh, wow, okay.
The only time that I would get involved with that was if there was a small village centre or a town centre as part of the development.
Site, in the
so
middle.
where there was a bit more of a creativity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the rest of the houses, I just had no interest.
Oh, really? They put you to sleep?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, Chris brought Barrett's.
I think that you should, because you should improve them, because some of the new designs coming out nowadays are so bloody boring. And it's
I think when some developers are closed book, it's a different thing. Becoming a developer myself as well. Now I know I want to create something different.
Yeah, from the look of it. But the criteria still has to tick the boxes.
No, absolutely. But I think I did my bit. So Barrett's, for example, who were very well known for repeating the same old stuff.
Yeah.
We
did a lot with Barrett's back in the day in our property period.
Yeah.
Barrett's one of our favourites.
Well, they bought a site in Tamworth, I think the old Paisley sawmill, and they came to Chris because
Okay,
it was Chris's
So
client.
that's more of a historic site because of Fazy Mill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was Chris's client, and I'm still in contact with the chap Paul Martin, who used to work, who was their land director at the time. No longer, but he's still become a friend, and we is working for another surprisingly a award-winning design based housing developer, which is actually the person who started that was an architect as well.
Okay.
So, but they are more active around the southwest.
Yeah.
So Paul came in, and and three of us, Chris, Paul, and me, we were sitting in the small meeting room that we had, and Paul said, "Yeah, like to have these apartments here around this canal, but this is our template." And I looked at him as if he has just slapped me, but it felt like that, actually, to be honest. And I looked at Paul and I said, "Paul, you just want to regurgitate this same old footprint here. You know, why do you want to do that?" He said, "No, because it's tried and tested. We know what we are building, and it's going
cost,
to be
isn't it? You know,
cost
it's gonna
effective
cost
and
out
so
now.
on."
Yeah, the
So,
snags and stuff like.
I said, "Well, how about if I design you something really nice?" And Chris was there, kind of leaning back in his chair. Don't do that. I said, "No, what if I give you something different, but it'll be as cost effective to build? What would you say to that?" He said, "Oh, try me. You know, let's see what you have." So, of course, I spent the weekend putting something together, and asked him to come in on Monday, I think it was. He came in and went through the scheme, and he said, "Oh, brilliant. I love this." And it was, you know, I mean, I had elements of curved parts on the building. It was like a, you know, designing for a community as opposed to just regurgitating the same old. And they went ahead with that. Barris went ahead with that.
Really?
I mean, I was over the moon about that. And then, of course, when the credit crunch came, all of the larger projects dried up with Chris. The only ones that kept us going were some of my commercial projects, hotels and so on. Kept us going for a bit longer. But we didn't want to lay off anybody because many of those people were older than me. They had gone through the recessions a few times.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd just fight it. We'll just carry on. And of course, nobody knew that credit crunch is going to be different to any other recession we've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Because you can survive for so long and then come back up. But unfortunately, it took us down. So at that point, I was, again, a bit of a low for me. And I thought, do I really want to carry on? At that time, I was working with Tony Deepwater from East End Foods.
Okay, so he's like a private client of yours.
No, it was our company client. And I actually remember before giving us that project, their new cash and carry site in Aston.
Yeah, the big one.
That's right. And so they were very keen on securing the large cash and carry there.
Yeah.
In addition to that, Tony was more of a visionary. He wanted to create a hotel as well. And hotels, my thing, effectively, certainly was at that time. He asked me to work with him on designing that. So when I met up with him in Hanley in Arden, He came to me through a client of mine from London, actually, as he happens.
Okay.
So, being in Birmingham, both of us, we never met each other, but it was a client in London who introduced us to. And again, same thing. I sketched on a paper napkin at this restaurant we were sitting at in Hanley in Arden, and it became a very good client. So we secured planning permission just before the credit crunch, and we were progressing with our scheme. They wanted to go ahead and build it. We secured planning permission for a 180-bedroom hotel, over 15 stories, 2,000-seater banqueting facility, and then in addition to that, 125,000 square feet of warehousing behind.
Wow.
And
At the Aston site as well, or is it different sites? Yeah,
it's on the same site.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
they implemented the cash and carry.
Yeah.
The hotel hasn't really taken off yet, that part of the development. So that's yet to come. But certainly, working with Tony was a great experience. He wanted to create something different, something unique, almost like their own landmark head office, as well as the cash and carry there. And that's exactly what I created for them. He had another great idea. We traveled up and down the country for this. He was very keen to introduce vertical farming.
Vertical farming.
Vertical farming.
Okay.
So we went to Paynton Zoo, which had a little bit of an indoor revolving farm, shall we say, and then so he got some brilliant ideas from that, and we were discussing that. Because I created this rotunda as the main reception area, we wanted to create something which would rotate, and because majority of the building was southeast facing, it will get plenty of sun as well. So, and of course, the obvious problems in terms of how do you irrigate when it's constantly revolving,
spinning around,
and of course, if it's cabling and whatnot, it'll get all tied up. So we had to work through all that. It's not a paid project for Tony either. It was more of a passion. So we had to try and get the best possible deals, buying some stuff from India, some labor from there as well, and putting it together here. So, and that worked wonderfully well. So much so that local schools, the primary schools, used to arrange visits there and seeing this vertical farm.
Wow.
Incredible.
Excellent.
Incredible. So after we struggled in 2010, and I was going through those motions of whether I want to carry on or keep to some of my other businesses and business ideas, because we started up the children's care home business at that time as well. And it was a true moment of, almost kind of giving up on my passion, architecture. But it wasn't, until Tony said to me, "Don't be silly." Exactly. Yeah. And so I started up again from scratch. Previously, the year before, we had 20 people, down to me again.
Wow.
And so took this office in Hampton in Arden, took on a youngish architect to join me, and that soon became another 3, and we started to grow again. And of course,
is this made architecture now?
That's it. So we started this as made, and again, it was a crazy idea at the time. I MADE stood for something. It stands for great design now, but at that time, my idea was I was only looking at the details of the bigger picture. I was saying Metropolitan Office of Architecture, Design and Exploration. That's how I came up with MADE. And the logo, the first logo that I created was kind of paying homage towards that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I had the second person who joined us, and she said, why not just call it MADE? I thought, it can't be that simple, surely. It's got to be more complicated than that. But no, it didn't have to be any more complicated than that. I think
it's a brand name, isn't it?
Brand names as MADE works far better.
Yeah, it does. It fits in, doesn't it? So the word fits in. So
yes. I mean, the one thing she said is, I'm not going to answer the phone and say Metropolitan Office of Architecture and Design.
It's true, isn't
I'm
it?
just going to say MADE.
Yeah. Awesome. And saying that to people is complicated as well, isn't it? Over the phone and stuff. So
It sure does.
So what point, because I know from the notes that you were examiner for the Birmingham School of Architecture, so you've gone back to your roots. Is that something that you're still doing now, or is that something that you did?
No, I think I ran out of time, so I didn't have enough time in the day to actually
what period
do everything.
did you do that?
But I did that for a few years as the external examiner for the School of Architecture. I was approached to be a regular visitor and a tutor.
Keep it on,
but I really didn't have the time. I mean, it was one of those things that I was so happy to do that, but I think realizing the time that I had to split between family, my passion, which is architecture, and my other businesses, it became somewhat difficult.
Yeah. So what period did you stop doing that? Was that quite a while ago? Was that recent?
No, I think it was around 2015, maybe.
Okay, yeah, so relatively recently.
Yeah.
So in your second, while you've had MADE.
That's right.
So obviously MADE's grown and grown. Well, I see it all over the place, and obviously you've had these big projects like the ICOB as part of that. All the awards that you've won, that you've picked up, obviously, over the years. I've seen, obviously, so many, and especially you've had some recently as well. How's that helped with your momentum? How's that helped you shape the business as such?
I guess in the main, it helps us to be able to convince some new clients to do things differently.
Yeah.
And where I guess previously you're not tried and tested. Here, on the other hand, you've got many awards that you have under your belt, and when you then say to clients, "Well, have you thought about doing this way instead?"
Yeah.
And for MADE, it's always been I mean, we love design, but a good design that can't be built is useless. It wouldn't get anywhere. It wouldn't get built. So
it can't be, a fantasy.
No, absolutely. As much as we architects love to fantasize about things, but we need to then wrap it up and make it deliverable.
Yeah.
And commercially viable. And this is where I guess getting into development myself, the great thing is that it allows me to show that you can create remarkable design without having to pay a premium to build it. So some of the developers who wouldn't otherwise take the risk of designing something different, well, I can certainly say it's tried and tested with me, with my own schemes as well, that we can design something unique, build it, looks absolutely great, but it's still commercially viable.
Yeah, fantastic. Because that does bring me into the next area of question, really, around the obviously the current trends of environmental aspects and everything else with planning. How big is sustainability and all these new forms of building, like modular building and all the eco-friendly builds, etc.? How's that impacted? How's that changed the industry?
Well, I guess it's actually come from the industry itself. I mean, we as architects have always been promoting good sustainable buildings, good designs. And even as early as 2004, one of the schemes that I did, I introduced green roofs. Not that there was a requirement of any kind. At that time, most of the planning applications only just needed architect's drawings and a planning fee. All the other reports came gradually over time. So sustainability has always been part of what I have been doing, or creating and encouraging clients to do. And certainly at that, viable options such as rainwater harvesting. So the project that we were talking about earlier for Tony Deep, one of the things we did was rainwater harvesting. And that whole place, with so many toilet facilities on the shop floor, on the warehouse floor, in their head office, they're all being flushed from this grey water that's in the tanks and being cleaned up and flushing all of these toilets all that time. And even now it's being used.
Wow.
So to answer your question, I think it's always been there. I think it's only been more formalized now, or getting to become more formalized. The only thing that I'm probably not such a fan of, and never have been, is kind of modular buildings that end up looking boring. That they are done that way just so something is cost effective and built in a factory. And that's not something that I'm actually in tune with. But I think in terms of BIM, modeling together as a whole team, having a common model to develop, all of that is positive for us.
It's a good thing, yeah. Because 3D printing and things like that, is that having an impact? Is that helping reduce costs, or have you come across much of it yet?
So 3D printing on site, or are we talking about 3D printing of models?
Both. Models and on site.
Models is incredible. I think on site, I don't think it's quite there yet.
Not yet.
No, I think perhaps over time in the future it might, but at this moment in time, I don't think it's quite there. And I think the efficiencies are not there either yet.
Yeah, unless they are repeat carbon copy.
Yes.
Items. Yeah.
And then you're no longer creating a diverse city, street, or town. You're creating repetition and regurgitating the same old.
Which is, as an architect, you like to stay away from.
Yes.
That's your principles. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's it. So it doesn't quite fit your remit. Yeah, no, I understand that. Okay. So for the budding architects, you obviously mentioned that you've helped people in the past, and that you got your jump and you got your kind of trampoline jump into the industry through your the chap on 5 Ways at the time.
Yeah.
What would you suggest to anyone looking to become an architect? How can they get information, or what's the best way of getting into things, would you say?
Well, I would say master the fundamentals and look at the buildings that have to be built at the end of the day. It's easy to come up with dream projects, but I think we need to make those dreams a reality in the most sensible way. And of course, making those projects deliverable So master as much as you possibly can of every inch of design, creating something unique, and ensuring that this can be built on site. After all, that's what architects are supposed to do.
Yeah.
And in truth, be absolutely truthful to yourself, your clients, and to the built environment, and show your integrity. And in truth, reputation, respect travels far wider than your portfolio.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, do you know, with your technology, you mentioned AutoCAD, you mentioned like other software, the positioning software and things. How's AI affecting you guys nowadays? Is it helping you? Is there software that you can use to kind of enhance things?
Yes, I mean, I think what we have been using is, never been a fan of AutoCAD or any kind of 2D tools. We have incredible system we invested in long time ago, ArchiCAD, which is you're effectively designing in 3D straight away. For those who want to design on the computer, shall we say.
Yeah.
I still encourage my guys in the office to start off with a doodle. No point telling the computer that you want to have a point A, point B, and point C, and then create an arc that way. It's far easier to have your mind, eye, hand coordination and draw it in one sweep.
Is there anything that's within AI that's bridging the two?
I hope so. I certainly hope there is an opportunity in the future to do something like that.
Do you get what I mean? Like to take your design and then maybe work out different variations of it itself.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
for the client's kind of options.
No, absolutely. I mean, I had one back in early days, Khalil. It was brilliant. He was able to read my mind.
Yeah.
So I think when AI can read your mind, it'll be a great tool to have. Certainly nothing to be feel threatened by, because it's there as an assistance rather than taking over the world as such. So it's not some kind of a dystopia. I think we architects are still very much thinking about creating utopia. So, but certainly the 3D CAD software is incredible that we have in the office, allows us to work much more efficiently. So our fees have become a bit more competitive than they once were. And that's all because we can do things and various options very, very quickly in 3D. And that helps immensely. It helps the client immensely to see what they are looking to create. And they can almost have a walkthrough if they wanted to have the VR experience with us, so they can actually walk through their building, which is not built yet.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you have to embrace the technology instead of being fearful of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, look, technology has been there for a very long time. I mean, I still prefer to design freehand because I design better. I feel if there was, I guess the only progression I personally have made, not my office, but me personally, is from sketching, designing on paper with pen. I've moved to using iPad when the Apple Pencil came out, so you can actually sketch your thoughts. And guess what? Since then, I've never lost my sketch. I've got all those sketches in there.
No napkins being chucked in the bin by accident or anything else.
No,
awesome.
No, that's my wife. Anything that I write, anything that I sketch, she'll and she has OCD about cleaning. She would like to clean everything out. I'm a hoarder. I like to hold on to things.
Remember it, inspirational. But do you know, so the final point really, I should say, is your family. Obviously, you mentioned your family, you mentioned your wife, you mentioned like points in time where your kids have kind of come into the mix. I know that you work with your son now. Your son's also an award-winning, part of the business architect. How has it helped having your family in, and what's you've had the support of your family from day one?
Yes.
How important do you think that is to succeed?
Yes, I mean my son Zain, as you know, he just finished his bar course, becoming a barrister.
Okay, fantastic.
So he's not an architect, so he's a little
okay.
bit.
I thought he was an architect. Yeah, sorry, that's my mistake then. Yeah,
he's a little bit, shall we say, more focused when it comes to that, because we architects, we have a little bit of a peripheral thing happening, that we have to see everything in 360 degrees to get the right solution. But he's much more focused and natural at being business savvy. So he's been trying to encourage me to do more of our own developments. Hence the 3 high-rise towers that we are doing for ourselves. They were Zain pushing me in that direction. We are working on one-off houses. We've just bought a site in Thiel, just between Reading and Oxford.
Oh wow! Okay.
And that's, again, we'll be looking to create 3 very unique houses there.
Yeah.
So Zain is an incredible help, and I think having a non-architect to help on the business aspect of it is probably really, really good, and works really well for us. We work very well. Clearly, there's another site that we are developing, and he asked me, Dad, you promised me a sketch on a Sunday, and it's Sunday today. Could you do that doodle for me? And so I did it, but I redesigned it about 3 or 4 times. And I passed it to him. I said, actually, I'm still not happy. Let me just, he said, no, Dad, you've done it 3 times. This is enough. It's going ahead. Yeah. And I think that's the thing. We architects, if we we are self-critical, there's no doubt. And it's a good thing. It can be a bad thing. But we could end up redesigning something forever. And so he's got a little bit more of even more of a commercial mindset than I have, which is good. And in truth, early days, I guess my strength has always been my wife, Sophie, for taking that big gamble with me in setting up my own practice. Her support was there, ensuring that we could get the right balance with looking after our children, raising our children, and helping out wherever she could with the business. So wonderful. I mean, I'm indebted in so many ways, and I guess what we have to remember is that business is nothing without that family support around you, and having that family support provides you with that good grounding and stability. Business is should not be the thing that you're chasing all the time. It's both are not in 2 separate worlds. Yeah. So you can't switch from one world to the other. They're not in separate worlds. They are both in the same world. And you have to give the same amount of love, attention to both.
Definitely. Thank you so much. This has been absolutely incredible. And it's been so interesting going through your entire journey. So thank you very much for sharing, and thanks for your time. Pleasure. Thanks for coming over. Hopefully look forward to episode 2 from you in future. So thanks very much, Nav.
Indeed.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you for watching my episode. It's been an incredible pleasure talking about my journey, and I could have gone on for much longer, but thank you. And please do follow and subscribe to Morgan Reach TV.
Hi, thanks very much for watching today's episode. Hope you found it interesting and informative. Please do like and subscribe to our channel, and please do keep an eye out for the new episodes with even more guests coming soon. Thanks very much again.